Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Organic herbs and botanicals, skincare and edibles, wellness for body and mind. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. Ronald Records. From indie gems to classic hits, discover the heart of local music. With live shows all the time, up close and personal, and regular releases on their in-house label. Ronald Records. Supporting the community, one track at a time. All right, thank you all so much for watching again. Shout out The Brothers Apothecary and Ronald Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. But now let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
What's up? I'm Nolifeluis.
Hello.
How's it going?
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about, who you are, where you're from, what you do, give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
For sure, yeah. So I am from St. John's, North Portland, and I'm actually a rapper / hip hop artist.
Okay.
Or pop,
Yeah.
But I like to dabble in a lot of genres, and I got my start in 2020 with rap, but I've actually always been a musician.
Okay.
I started when I was 7. I did classical music, so I played the violin.
Oh, rad.
Yeah.
You want to do that?
There was a quartet that came to my elementary school, and I thought, they sounded really cool, and it really piqued my interest.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And then did you go to any other stringed instruments after that, or did you eventually just find rap and hip hop?
I almost played every string instrument in my orchestra.
Okay.
I could at least play a couple songs on all of them.
Yeah.
And then in middle school, I started messing with the brass and woodwinds. So
so you were just everything.
Exactly. Yeah. And I also dabbled in choir a little bit.
Oh man, yeah, you were just all over the place with music.
Yeah, I love music a lot, yeah.
Did you ever do any of the traditional just garage band instruments, so guitar and bass guitar or drums or anything like that?
I've never got the chance to pick up an electric guitar, but I have practiced the acoustic guitar a little bit.
Okay.
But it's pretty hard because the frets kind of give you blisters. Or
yeah, I guess that's a weird offshoot of most orchestra instruments, is they are fretless.
Exactly. Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So did that just make it more difficult to press the strings down? Was that really the problem with it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. I never considered that. That's a really interesting perspective.
Yeah.
But in my head, it's because I grew up on bass, so in my head, it's actually harder to not know where they are.
Oh yeah.
Because, especially on violin, the neck is so little.
Yeah.
The difference between here, and it's 18 different notes.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a really interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And then I guess, how did you find rap and hip hop?
Yeah. So I was a freshman when I found rap. It was 2020, and everything was closed down. So
yep.
I thought why not just try to write something,
Yeah.
And I wrote my first rap maybe in February of, no, not February, maybe the very beginning of when everything shut down. And I really liked it. But the thing is, I've always had a kind of a speech impediment. So it was really hard to get the words out. So when I rapped, it was always slurred. Yeah. So rap helped a lot with that. So I talk a lot more clear than I did, 4 years ago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I dig that.
Yeah.
Look at you utilizing it to overcome something that was in your way. That's
exactly.
badass.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, before we get into more of what you do within the current day, we have a couple questions we check in with everybody on.
Awesome.
And this first one is one we ask early, it's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
I was never really into rap when I was little, actually. So
no, that's fine. I guess my first album was a rap album, but like, everybody's got their first one, regardless of the genre.
Yeah. I think it was my mom. I think the first album that she really, I guess, put me on, because I never really asked for any albums when I was little.
Yeah, I guess you were probably at a point in time where like downloading and streaming were already pretty prominent.
Exactly. Yeah. But I say it was one of Jenny Rivera's albums. She's a Latin artist.
Yeah. Hell yeah. That's rad. I dig that. And like, was anybody in your household musical? I guess I should ask that earlier.
I was the first musician. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, hell yeah, I dig that. And then what was the first live show you ever went to that was like one you wanted to go to? So like you saw it was happening, you got tickets, you went to it.
Yeah. I went to one of the, it was an organ symphony. They performed at the Arlene Schnitzer's Hall. And that was the first one that I wanted to go to because they had a soloist named Itzhak Perlman, and he's a world-class violinist. And that was probably the first concert that I wanted to go and I went to.
Damn, that's badass.
Yeah.
I guess then what was the first like rap and hip-hop concert you ever went to?
The first, I went to a 21 Savage concert in 2019. Yeah, with one of my friends, Allison Chin. She took me when I was maybe in 8th, 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
It was really cool, but he headlined very late, so I was there for a while. Yeah. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Who opened up for him?
Honestly, I can't remember. I think it was probably a local artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, that's all right.
Yeah.
And then before we get into, like I said, you in the current day, do you have like a defining moment where you decided like this was what you wanted to do?
Honestly, it was when I met one of my close friends now. His name is Damien Ochoa. He's a Portland legend out here, and after linking up with him, I realized like he's talented, and he really showed me the ropes. And after I got better at music, I thought this is something I can do and pursue as a hobby or as a job. Yeah.
Well, I mean, as an art, I think it's really
art,
how
exactly.
best to look at it, because you can make money with art.
Exactly. Yeah.
I get that some people see it as like a full-time gig.
Yeah.
No, but I dig that. But now let's go ahead and let's get on into you in the present day. And we're going to get a super easy one out of the way. How'd you pick the name?
The name? Well, I've always been pretty antisocial. And for like all my life, I've always liked to stay inside. It's always been like a comfort thing. And I've never really had a lot of friends. So I thought, I'm a no-life. And my name's Luis, so I just put the two together.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And, just because I see it 18 different ways written, just because, every media has it different. But do you do it all as one word, or do you do it like as 3 individual words?
Yeah, I like to put it all together. Like, to me, I guess it just looks better.
Yeah, no, I could dig that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then let's talk about your writing process a little bit. When it comes to putting a track together, how do you usually get one started?
Oh, that's a good question. Usually, it depends on the mood I'm in. I'm very picky with my beats. So I'll sit there for hours looking for one beat to write to. And
now, because you have grown up around so much, especially like classical music and where like stuff has to be like together, do you notice right away when like a track is just like not put together musically well?
All the time. Yeah. So exactly. So like if there's like an out of key beat, or if the tempo, like if there's like a beat pause and then the tempo it picks up after the beat pause, I'll notice that. But it's usually I guess the chords in a song that really catches my ear.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then once you pick out the beat, where do you go from there? Do you do like hook first? Do you do verses? Do you write? Do you freestyle? How do you go about putting the words on top of it?
Yeah. So usually the beats I pick are pretty structured. So like they'll have like tags like verse, hook, pre-hook, So I'll just follow that, and then whatever comes to mind is usually pretty good, Yeah. Yeah, but
do you freestyle over it, or do you do pen to paper?
Sometimes I'll I wouldn't say freestyle. I guess something that yeah.
Okay.
I'll freestyle like in the beginning, and then after that, I'll write the whole song.
Gotcha.
The song, yeah.
And do you record at home? Do you go somewhere to do it? How do you usually like get your tracks made?
I do both, but I prefer to record in the studio because it's a lot easier. You know, because when I do record at home, I'll have to like take out the stems of the songs, and then I have to go to the studio, and you know, it's a lot of work. So
no, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then once you get a track finished writing, it doesn't have to be like released per se, but once you've gotten it all written from start to finish, how long does it usually take you to get comfortable to the point where you can perform it?
Ooh, I've actually never performed. I performed in front of an open mic at least once, but I was very nervous. But if I were to perform, I'd say it'd take at least a month, you know, to get the words down.
Gotcha.
And make sure the flows are tight, you know.
Now, it's interesting because you've been putting out music since, like, you know, I mean, you got music going back to like 2021 on Spotify.
Yeah.
So when was that open mic?
The open mic was in 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess, do you like, what are your hurdles from choosing to perform more regularly? Because you have a ton of music.
Yeah.
So much music. You could easily do like a 20-30 set with how much music you have.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's just the nerves. I'm very shy, and you know, like I said, I'm antisocial, you know. But I think it comes with being an artist that I really do need to put my stuff out there.
I got you. Well, I mean, you have so much stuff out there.
That's the
interesting part of that is like usually when people are like, "Oh, I haven't performed," they have like 3 or 5 songs, but you got a grip of them.
Exactly.
You have multiple albums, EPs, singles. Like that's interesting to me that you have so much music out there that like you haven't performed like fully yet. Everybody at people in the comments, we're doing this early, at people that he should be on a show with. Let's make that happen.
Please. Yeah.
But I think, you know, like, because, you know, and we'll jump to this part now. Like your sound is really good. Like it's really well defined. You clearly have an ear for music. It's very noticeable in your hooks and your delivery and like the differences in music that you have. Because you have a lot of like stylistic varieties.
Yeah.
You have a handful of things. And even your most recent album, Volatile, it's a good example of your variety of music.
Yeah.
It's like you approach them in a few different ways. You have some that are like, some that are softer, some that are a little bit more aggressive, some that are more like R&B-ish almost.
Yeah.
Like, so you have a really cool catalog of music. So I really think that now is the time for you to kind of take that and run with it because I imagine you have a handful of them memorized.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, like, you know, this is kind of an out of order part for the show, but I think it would be cool to see you perform at this point because you have a really good collection and you could probably style it however you wanted.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm just putting that here for later, but get back into it since we've already talked about some of your music. I do want to talk about a few of the ones I picked out because I actually had a hard time picking out one. So I picked out technically 2, but you'll see why I said that. The first one I picked out was King of Depression.
Oh, wow.
And it was honest like that, you know, get that out of the way right now. Like you go and listen to the lyrics and they're clearly very deep, very direct, very thought out, but the beat was so smooth.
Yeah.
And that like subtle talk box in the hook, like most people don't know this, but I do talk box. That's like one of my instruments. Really? And I like, so when I heard it, I was like, yeah, it was tasteful. And like your vocals were really crisp and your flow was so consistent, but not boring. Like a lot of people can find that just that one over repetitive cadence where they're like, I'm just going to say all these phrases this way. And you had that, but you didn't, it stayed interactive. You had just the right touch of melody. So it rides the beat really well.
Thank you.
And then the other one I had to pick was Would You Feel the Same?
Wow.
Isla. And that one just hit different. I mean, the hook was so catchy.
Thank you.
So catchy. And the beat, like I said, it's very like R&B.
Yeah.
I thought was kind of a cool twist. And then, I mean, Isla was a great addition to the track.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm saying her name right. Is Isla? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And that track just kind of hit different. And then I have to give honorable mention to Book of Flows.
Oh, wow.
Just because like that was the first one where you really leaned into kind of just going off on it.
Yeah,
so that was a really fun one.
Thank you.
But I'm curious to know, what are some of your favorite tracks?
I have some that are unreleased. I actually have a project coming out called The Portlander.
Oh, okay.
And I have a couple of songs that I like that are going to be dropping Friday.
Oh, exciting. Well, it'll probably been like a Friday ago by the time this comes out. But
yeah. Yeah, but I guess out right now, I say Busy is a pop song. I kind of chop it up a little bit, like rap fast, and I think the hook is pretty solid. I actually have the homie Damie on the hook. He's actually like a rapper, you know.
Yeah.
So it's cool to hear how he harmonizes with me, you know. It's cool. It's a cool sound of, I guess, textures, you know.
Yeah, very much
voices,
so.
Yeah.
Very much so. I noticed you did a lot more like quick stuff on Volatile too.
Yeah.
Leaned into more of that post book of flow.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. And then I guess, you know, you're already kind of telling us about some of your new music. So dig into it a little bit more. What can we look forward to as far as like textural differences or structures? What are some of the like things about the album that are going to make it stand out from your other music?
Yeah. I feel like this project that I have coming out, the flows and everything, like in general, just sounds better.
Now, how would you define better?
Better, yeah. So I guess I'm staying more on beat.
Okay.
When I do rap fast, because I tend to speed up and kind of fall off the beat. But with this one, I'm always hitting the beat.
Okay.
And I do also sing a lot more on this album, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've noticed. Do you use auto-tune? Because I don't really hear it in your music.
Yeah. Every time I tell the engineer, which is a very like a legendary engineer out here, his name is Zeb. I go to Momentum Studios, and I always ask him to like make the auto tune like unnoticeable. You know?
And I thought that was a cool touch because, like, you know, obviously, like it's good to have kind of structurally in certain spots just to like make it pleasing for re-listens.
Yeah,
but, like it was cool when I like tried to listen in. I couldn't really find like an overuse of it. So I thought that was and it seems pretty consistent through most of your stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, your sound is really consistent. Like you've really like, you know, again, stylistically, you've like changed and evolved and things like that. But from the start, your music has a good clarity to it. And so, like, were your early stuff like done at home as well, or have you like always kind of been lucky enough to like work with a studio? Yeah,
no. So I started out on my iPhone actually. I had a music app called a Band Lab, and you know, I used that from 2021 to 2022.
Okay.
And I released music in between that time frame, and then after that, my friend Damien took me to the studio, and he was like, you know, I think it's time to kind of
step it up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, I understand that there are plenty of people who have made, you know, radio topping hits with their iPhone microphone, but like yes, at a certain point, like that delivery can come from it much more cleanly if you do it in an actual studio.
Exactly.
So, shout out to Damien for one time for that. That's the homie right there.
Yep.
But now let's take a moment and let's zoom all the way out. Okay. We're going to look at kind of music as a whole. What are some of the things about like newer music, or at least music that's newer to you, that you find either enjoyable and or inspirational?
That's a good question. See, honestly, I like the sound of like how it's evolved from like, you know, 20 years ago. I feel like people are a lot more, I guess, experimental with music. Like, for example, like Yeet, he's like almost like mumbling, but it sounds good, you know?
Yeah.
And it's something that I would never do, honestly, but
same.
You know, it sounds good to the ear, you know, like just the way he delivers it. And a lot of singers like I like Ariana Grande's new project, Billie Eilish's new project. But I think it's just so dope to see like how music is evolving like every day, you know?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
You know, I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine just in the regular world. I also talk about this stuff when I'm not on camera.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how like the like ebb and flow of music kind of happens where like, you know, people want to do all of it themselves and they want to have like 9 iPads on stage and like all of the things that they can. And now I think we're kind of getting back to the point where music is becoming more collaborative as well, which I'm really excited to see, because that means that more ideas are going to interject themselves into music. And that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next portion, which is all hypothetical questions, this next question is probably the densest one in the interview. But, you know, we've talked a lot about your experiences with music, the actions, the reactions, and things like that.
Yeah.
But when it's just you and the music one-on-one, what does music give back to you?
Ooh. Honestly, music is like a therapy for me. Like I said, I'm pretty antisocial. So, the only time I really get to vent is when I make music. You know, I like to when I do write, I like to write everything that I'm feeling in that moment. You know, so like if I'm feeling depressed or if I'm feeling happy, mad, sad, I'll write it out, and that like usually always helps. And a lot of the songs that I do write with emotions, I never come out because they're kind of too personal, you know. But it's good to have them, you know, like so I can look back on it and see how I was feeling in that moment, you know. Yeah.
I mean, when you listen back to them, do you ever find like bars that you were like, this kind of slaps, and like repurpose it into other ones later?
Sometimes, yeah, but I guess they're usually too personal, you know.
That's
like,
fair.
Some bars are kind of like inside.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, you know.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta say, people really like that kind of music, though.
They do, yeah. That's
they can relate to most. So,
yeah,
you know, then a few more years down the line, find a way to release those and see how people can connect with them, because that I find is how like people resonate the best, when they're like, oh man, nobody's ever said it the way that I feel it, but he said it exactly how I felt it.
Exactly,
so.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, like I said, listening to some of your music already, clearly you've kind of got a good perspective on that anyways, but I would try not to run too far away from that, because that's how people can correlate best, is with those moments where they're like, I would have never been able to say this, but somebody else found a way to.
Exactly, yeah.
But now let's go ahead and let's move on to some hypothetical questions.
Awesome.
And for these, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well.
Okay.
But this first one is pretty straightforward. If you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive, who would you want to work with, and how would you want to work with them?
I say Eminem.
Okay.
I would want to chop it up, like rap fast on the track with them.
And what made you pick Eminem versus like, you know, like Tech Nine or Twista or somebody like that, who like is like, you know, that's kind of their like capital gains to a degree?
Yeah. I just feel like Eminem, like lyrically, is one of the best MCs to like ever do it, and I just like the way he writes. You know, like he. When he does rap fast, it's always like, it's no filler, you know, it's always like content.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like he's one of the few choppers that actually writes with no fillers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I could dig that.
Yeah.
And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
That's a good question. There's a few actually. There's a Indo Slim.
Oh yeah, shout out Indo Slim, friend of the show.
There's a Hernan Trofigger.
Oh yeah, shout out Hernan Trofigger.
There's J Don. He's a very good artist out here. And that's all I can think of right now. But there's so many great artists that I do want to work with.
Oh yeah. Well, y'all know what to do. At them in the comments. Let's see if we can get them all on one track.
Yeah.
And then for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limits, and it's pretty literal in this sense. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power, it was guaranteed the best lineup, guaranteed the best show. It doesn't have to be a venue. It could be anywhere. Where would you want to perform?
Oh. Probably at a Buckingham Palace in the UK. I think that would be so cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is an answer I haven't gotten yet.
Yeah.
Damn. Would you want to perform like for the royal family, or just like in front of it for everybody?
Just in front of it for like everybody. I think it would be really cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That is a unique answer. I like that. That's a fun one.
Thank you.
And then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, if you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have not put out an album in 100 years, they could have put out an album yesterday.
Yeah.
Who would you want an album from?
Hands down, I'd have to say Big L.
Damn, I've been getting that answer more frequently, and I can never disagree with it.
Yeah.
Like that.
Man, he was.
I know. Just added, like, he would have changed the way that we like did everything if he had continued to grow. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Just he would have been one of the like most influential big names of today.
I agree. Yeah,
well, that's a great answer.
Thank you.
But now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start wrapping this up. What can we look forward to between now and the end of the year?
Yeah. I definitely want to do another project with the homie Damien. And I also do want to do a couple of other collaborative projects with other artists from out here. Maybe the Trill Figures.
Yeah.
Both of them. I do want to start doing more pop. I think that's what my voice sounds best on. Yeah.
Hell yeah. You can find a way to become the new like local hook maker.
Yeah.
Just get on everybody's track, pull a T-Pain.
Yeah.
And then for this next one, go and look straight at the camera. Tell everybody how they can find you.
Yeah, so I am on Instagram at nolifeluis.gram. I'm on Snapchat at nolifeluis, and I'm on YouTube at nolifeluis.
Hell yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout-outs, anybody else you'd like to put on while you're on here?
Yeah, I want to give a shout-out to my homie Jaden Q. He also helped me a lot in the beginning. A shout-out to my mom. She's a single mom, and she raised me since, my dad left. And I also want to give a shout out to Damien, of course. He's one of my good friends. Peso. I want to give a shout out to Chris at Flacco Promo. He's a boxing promotion, and he gave me my first fight recently.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. And with that being said, we've got one last question to go.
Awesome.
Before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second.
That's good.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary, Ronald Records, and Portland Water. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. Guarantee you're going to like them. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation. But what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's a deep cut. It's one not a lot of people would know, but it's one you think everybody should know.
Damie's The Grind album with Tone G.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, I haven't heard that yet, so I'm definitely going to go check it out for sure.
Good album, yeah.
Hell yeah. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get up on out of here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Nolifeluis.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap.
This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.